Hey, my name's Greg. I write code for a living, and I'm learning game development, and I am learning it using Godot. And one of the things I decided to do to learn was to recreate some of my childhood favorites. And when I tell you what I'm building, that will age me pretty well. But one of the games I played a lot when I was really young was a game called the Lunar Lander. You're basically trying to land a ship of some sort. It varied depending on which version you had, whether it was actually the lunar lander from Apollo missions or something else on the surface of, say, the moon, where you had less gravity. And the way it worked is you only had so much fuel to land safely, and you had to find a flat spot somewhere within a jagged region in order to land safely. And so I'm recreating that, and I have a very basic version up that has nothing but the ship and a flat space, and I have my controls working. But I need to do a little bit of stuff to kind of clean up the structure, because this structure is not great. So one of the things I want to do in this video is, first I'm just going to simply demo kind of how it works. Spacebar right now is just to basically turn on some thrust of some sort, which I will animate as fire coming out of the bottom thruster later. You can move it from left to right, and again there'll be exhausts coming out of the sides to indicate that. But eventually you would do this enough and you'd be using fuel. You may run out before you can land, but eventually you would land within a certain velocity, and everything would be safe. Obviously my game is not complete, so I can just take off again and keep going, but landing would ultimately end the game, and that would probably result in a crash. But one of the things I need to do is go ahead and get my project structure a little cleaned up. For example, I have a world, which is a node, but my player, which is a character body 2D, is just sitting as a child node under here, and I really need it to be a separate scene so I can manage it a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on here, and I'm going to do save branch as scene. And what I'm going to go ahead and do in here as well is I'm going to create a new folder called scenes, and then I'm going to create a new folder just called player, and I'm going to save this as player scene. Alright, so now you can see that we can switch over to this scene directly, and that gets us its own scene to work in. So any changes we make here will automatically reflect in whichever scene we add it to. The other thing I want to do real quick here is just rename this to player, which will make a lot more sense. And then world is going to stay world, and we'll just go ahead and save that, and we'll make sure it still runs, and it does, so everything still works. It's great. That's all I want to do in this video. It's really simple and sweet. The next thing I will work on is probably go ahead and adding some animation to this thrust and to the exhaust, and I might even add what would be, in essence, a health component, but it's really just tracking the fuel. So I'm not sure exactly how I want to do that yet, but that'll be next, and when I get that done I will demo that as well.